Chandler definitely has the tools to beat him, but the thing is, Chandler's not going to use those tools.
That's the thing. You got a great point there. If Michael Chandler goes and does what he should do,
it should be an easy fight. I mean, that's not to say that McGregor's not going to be able to wrestle. Historically, he hasn't been a top-level wrestler, but we're not talking about historically. Right now, we're talking about what is he coming into this next fight with, because I think he knows that, judging by what he's seen from Chandler, he could knock Chandler out.
What are the 155 rankings?
155 rankings. Number 1, Charles Oliveira. Number 2, Dustin Poirier. 3, Justin Gaethje. 4, Beneil Dariush. 5, Michael Chandler. 6, Rafael Fiziev. 7, Mateus Gamrot. 8, Armin Tsarukyan.
That is a fucking killer top. What, 6? Top 10?
How many in that top? Gamrot is 7, right?
Gamrot is 7, correct.
The top 7, how many have, do you think will beat Islam? Or have a chance, not will beat.
Man.
Who's 6?
6 is Rafael Fiziev.
Fiziev's good, too.
And 5 is
Michael Chandler. You don't think Beneil has a chance?
He looked good his last fight, but who knows?
Beneil has a chance to beat.
Who was his last
anybody.
fight? Ferguson?
No, Gamrot. He destroyed Gamrot.
Oh, they just fought him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
His jiu-jitsu is good, and he has good hands, but I don't. Like I said, I don't know.
I don't see Dustin Poirier, to be honest with you.
I think the most dangerous person there is gonna be
I think
Dariush.
it's Dariush.
I think Dariush is probably.
Yeah.
I think he's probably the best in the division, with the exception of maybe Oliveira. I'd like to see Poirier versus Dariush. Let's test, because you're gonna test his wrestling, and you're gonna see how you're gonna do with somebody who's a really good striker in terms of Dariush. Which Dariush is a good striker, but I mean Dustin Poirier being
better,
one of the best strikers in the game.
Yeah.
So I think you get to test both of those guys who are both well-rounded, but one's better at this and one's better at that. And if Dariush can get through Dustin Poirier, I mean, obviously he should be fighting for that fucking belt.
Because we had a preview of this, and we asked. We kind of knew that the 145 division was stuck, being not only can nobody beat Volkanovski, nobody can beat the number 2 guy, who's Holloway. So the 155 division, we don't think is stuck yet, because the guy's only defended it now twice.
Which one of them was somebody out of his?
One of them was against a 145er, but not just because he hasn't beat those guys yet doesn't mean that he can't.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again, I don't see Justin Gaethje beating him.
But we did see that Makhachev is not as good on the ground as we thought he was.
We don't know that. We just didn't know that
Volkanovski was that good.
He is.
Correct.
Yeah. So
No, you got a point. You got a point.
Volkanovski also controls distance very well. Yeah. So, in terms of him being able, to be able to shoot, he didn't give him the ability to shoot because he just kept a good distance away from him. Mm-hmm. And, it didn't take to maybe the last round, I think, when he finally timed Volkanovski coming in and then shot for the takedown. And then, Volkanovski got back up. So, Volkanovski was just about everything that he said he was. He says
Chandler's not a bad. It's crazy, the matchup
against Islam.
He's a hell of a wrestler.
Yeah,
he is, but I guess we've never seen him wrestle somebody like.
The thing is, again, we go back to Yair Rodriguez. If the guy can actually be disciplined in a fight, he should have beat Dustin Poirier. He turned him the wrong way. He had him in the air and then just turned him the wrong way, gave him his back and lost. But
very possible, yeah.
You said Yair Rodriguez, you mean Charles Oliveira?
No. What I mean is that Yair Rodriguez was disciplined tonight. Yeah. Normally he hasn't been. The problem with Poirier is with Chandler, the guy's just not disciplined. The guy goes for it all from round 1.
Yeah. But and he doesn't use his groundwork as much as he usually.
That's what I mean. And the Poirier fight, he hurt him in the first round, then got hurt at the end of the first round. Dominated him on the wrestling in the second round, and then with a guy that you dominated on the second round should not be able to choke you out in the third. Especially when you high crouch him, have him above your head, that shouldn't be able to happen. The guy's just not disciplined. He on the ground he survived and turned around against Charles Oliveira. Nobody does that, and he did it. Like the guy has it all, but he's just not disciplined.
Well, I think also it's just matches make, like matchups make fights. So if you look at like stylistically. Chandler is probably a very dangerous fight for, anybody, but, for Islam in general, because he comes blazing at the beginning. And if he can put that fear into you early on, you don't know what to do. So I think he would just have to finish the fight early to fight Islam. You definitely don't want to. Obviously, we just saw he can go 5 rounds.
A wrestling match. Can he beat him at a wrestling match?
And that's what I was going to say. Does he have the takedown defense to go ahead and then the wrestling...
I think he needs to offensively wrestle.
I
don't think he needs to strike.
Offensively wrestle.
Yeah, he doesn't need to strike Islam like to try to have a pretty fight. I think he needs to do what he did with Poirier and go in there guns blazing and like he did with Gaethje. But he needs to be switching levels, like get into those dirty fights and then grab for the leg and try to drag him down and just take him into places where he's super uncomfortable. I don't think Islam's super comfortable being on his back. Because he's never on his back.
Right.
In camp, he probably is, but, versus, on the big stage and you're out there on your back when you didn't expect that at all, that's a different thing.
Right. Yeah.
Did we see the first takedown from him or on him today?
Honestly, I don't know. No.
So let me ask another question. Seeing Makhachev's, what do you call it? His boxing strike, his striking, do you think it matches Chandler's?
He's probably more technical. Now, again, you get caught by Chandler, it could be over.
We've seen that.
But the thing is, he rarely gets...
I think Chandler can probably knock out just about anybody within,
About anybody can knock him out. That's the problem.
Up to 170 and down, I think.
About anybody can knock him out. So, that's the thing of Michael Chandler. He tries to put on a show. But which is crazy, I think he beats McGregor.
And so, if he meets McGregor, do you think...
McGregor always just sends you to the top. That's just what McGregor does. If you beat McGregor, you get the McGregor rub.
But he's lost to number 1, number 2, number 3. Charles, Dustin, and Justin Gaethje. He's lost to all of them.
I actually don't think he beats McGregor.
I don't think so either.
I think McGregor starches him.
Really?
Dude, you think he's coming back to get beat by somebody? He picked this fight particularly for a reason. It's absolutely his choice. He can pick to fight John Jones if he wants.
No, I believe he thinks he could beat.
For sure. Yeah, of course.
No fighter goes into a fight thinking, I know, unless you're George Masvidal, I know I'm going to lose.
Like I don't believe that he thinks he's going to lose to Michael Chandler.
Chandler definitely has the tools to beat him, but the thing is, Chandler's not going to use those tools.
That's the thing. You got a great point there. If Michael Chandler goes and does what he should do.
It should be an easy fight. I mean, that's not to say that McGregor's not going to be able to wrestle. Historically, he hasn't been a top-level wrestler, but we're not talking about historically. Right now, we're talking about what is he coming into this next fight with? Because I think he knows that, judging by what he's seen from Chandler, he could knock Chandler out.
He can
definitely knock Chandler the fuck out. But if Chandler decides to wrestle, will he still have the ability to be in the fight? So I think, they've known who he was going to fight for a while.
But my thing with McGregor, to me, if Michael Chandler comes out, takes down McGregor, lets him up after 3 minutes, McGregor's dead, historically.
Yeah.
after 3 minutes.
But
and at that point, Chandler could do whatever he wants with him. But you're right, he might not do that and come out and box him and get.
Well, there's also the fact that we see a very improved McGregor wrestling.
To the level of Michael Chandler, though, that's a different level.
I do think that's probably true, but I think it changes a lot of things when you are getting hit by a McGregor power.
You think he just starts him? It has to be first round, right?
Here's the thing. I think a lot of people, because of what he does outside of the octagon, and basically that, discredit his fight IQ. I think McGregor's fight IQ is one of the highest we've seen. You call me stupid or whatever, but I truly believe that.
Why?
Well, because You look at what he did with Aldo. He practiced that before the fight. Okay,
You're right.
He dismantles Eddie Alvarez. Okay, you can say what you want about Eddie Alvarez. He's a UFC champ. Not everyone's a UFC champ.
Exactly, that's true.
Okay, the second
who's still fighting and still winning.
Yeah, the second Poirier fight, anything could happen in a fight. McGregor was winning that fight, and he was piecing up Poirier, and then he got caught, which I believe was because his leg was shot. And
I think that was pretty even fight. Actually, I don't think he was piecing him up. I might have.
The first round he pieced him up.
I think he's still a better striker than Poirier. I think he's still probably a better striker than just about anybody. Yeah, shit. You got like the really, really great strikers, which I would call Conor, Sugar Sean O'Malley, now, Adrian Yanez. You got, what do we got? John Jones. You got.
Here's what I think about. I don't disagree with you.
Adesanya.
I don't disagree with you in the Conor McGregor thing. The Aldo thing, he practiced it. We can't call it lucky, but it's rare that you plan something and it works to perfection. And it happened that night. You know what I mean? And it happened that night.
That's why it doesn't happen.
Yeah, it rarely ever happens. So, Michael, we will never know what happens if that punch doesn't land. Let's go to Masvidal. What happens if that flying knee doesn't land?
Well, they should have ran that fight back. I always thought that.
What happened if that doesn't land? Jose Aldo at that point had every tool in the box. So not only had the cardio, had the wrestling, had the jiu-jitsu, had the kicking, had every tool in the box. What happens if that counter doesn't land? And we all expect that if that knee doesn't land, it's a mauling for 3 rounds of wrestling, right?
Which fight are you talking about?
For the Ben Askren.
Oh, 100%. He'd have died.
Yeah, and what happens if that?
You know what? To that point, I think Aldo probably would have won it because he would have tore his legs up, I think.
He tears his leg. And I think the game plan versus McGregor, I believe, is survive the first round. You survive the first round, it's a different fighter.
Well, I mean, he took Alvarez round 3, I believe. He's taking
but
people.
He pieced him up for 2. he pieced him up.
Well, that's the thing is I think that, you really can't count him out until you take him to places that he can't really go. So at least historically, wrestling was one of those places. You take him into the wrestling and you start. I think, the way his muscles are, that he builds up a lot of lactic acid. He gets tired. His muscles get tired from the static holds, you know what I mean? Holding grip work and trying to wrestle and all that stuff. He gets very tired and he can't strike the same anymore.
So, all that to say, I don't know who beats Islam Makhachev. And y'all saying y'all want to see the fight again? Makhachev Volkanovski?
I do.
I would.
Absolutely.
I don't want to.
I do. Why not?
I think this is the best we're going to see Volkanovski.
Okay.
I personally do.
But
we also thought he was going to get starched today.
Yeah, I don't see what can he do better.
I would say that let's
Be
say
aggressive.
He goes back to 45. He beats Yair. What's left him to do with 45? Nothing. You relinquish the title, or unless you want to do the double champ with him.
Maybe he goes and fights Poirier or something, works his way up through the 55 division.
But I was going to say maybe after that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he just say I'm done with the 45 division and put on muscle?
But here's my thing. His problem today wasn't that.
Yeah.
You would like.
It was the lack of aggression, I think.
If he puts on muscle, he loses. What today he could have fought another 5 rounds. The guy has a tank that's unbelievable. You know what I mean?
Maybe
today,
he could probably put a little bit of muscle on. He don't need much.
But today he didn't lack it that much. Like
maybe
it wasn't the strength.
You don't think he improved the strength because there was times where he almost took down Islam?
Yeah,
maybe be able to take him down?
Maybe
the
a little bit.
To me, his biggest problem today was on his feet, and it was the distance, and he's not going to be able to improve that. And because the guy's an incredible striker, and he's just so small. Like, he's so short. I'm sorry, not small.
But see, that's also what helped him not get taken down, is that he's
very
very low. He doesn't have a lot of legs to present. And it's easy for him to get his legs back under him when he's, say, like on his back and he's on the side position. Then he can get his legs back under his hips so he can start standing back up. So he's able to start building his base faster.
And my thing is, if Islam comes back a monster on the ground if they fight again.
It also depends. It also depends on how quickly they do it again. Because how much is you? Let's say they do it in.
They're gonna come. Well, they only gonna fight again if he's a champion. There's no point in doing it if it's.
Okay, so not Makachev. Volkanovski goes back, fights Yair, wins. Do you think that happens in the next 3 months?
Oh no. That cut, they're gonna suspend him for a little bit.
Oh, because that cut.
He gets 6 months, I think.
No, I think it's it happens in November. When's international?
Or maybe 90 days because it's a cut, not
July.
A fight ending sequence.
They don't make it in July. Do you think they make it in July?
Well, I think they might already have stuff lined up.
Well, that's 5 months, right?
I say, for Volkanovski and Yair, yeah.
July is a possibility.
For Yair, yeah, probably.
So then we'll have to see how he does in that fight. Not how he does, but how much damage he gets, right?
And then they'll have to fight like in February.
So that's a year.
He's gonna get damaged. He's gonna get damaged fighting
Yair.
Yair.
A year is enough time to improve wrestling.
Who?
For Makachev.
Yeah, and if he improves wrestling, there's no fight.
Or unless
and that's what I'm saying.
Gets it that much
I
better.
don't see Volkanovski getting better. I feel like
no, but I agree with Isaias. I think right now the only place for Volkanovski
from July
is
to February is not enough to put on the muscle mass.
No, but we're not even talking about muscle mass. We're just talking about working on wrestling technique, so that whenever he does beat Yair, he goes directly to Islam and boom.
But again, today his problem wasn't wrestling.
Exactly. So I don't see the next fight.
He did it once offensively. He tried taking it down a couple times.
Think he'll ever be better than Islam offensively? He could do everything he wants to.
No, but I don't.
I never thought he would take him down or that he would do this good.
Pushing the pace is a possibility, I guess. Pushing the pace.
I think a part of it is just going to be the confidence. I think he started getting the confidence in the later rounds to where he started throwing kicks in the later rounds. I think that's going to be the thing, is that he needed to see that he would actually be able to get back up. And since he saw he was able to get back up, he wasn't able to finish him when he had his back. There's nothing to worry about if I throw my kick and you take me down. Right. So I think in the next fight, he's going to say, I got to throw my kicks again. I got to do my full stand-up because I'm a better striker than Islam. But it didn't look like it because he only brought half of his striking with him. So with that confidence to know that he can get back up if he catches my leg and takes me down because I'm on one leg, I can get back up. But now my striking is complete, and I can show that I'm a better striker than Islam. So he actually can come back a better fighter by not improving his wrestling,
but his striking.
But his confidence to use his full striking.
And thank you. We keep growing, so appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There's some comments out there. Yo, we don't take it personal. Keep sending them. It's fun. And thank you. Appreciate it. And peace.
Peace.
Out.